All of us in this room are in this together to make this community the best that it can possibly be. Hope is one part of that. But there are other dimensions we all recognize that all must come together in order for this to be the kind of community that we want to enhance even more. And obviously we think Hope is a great place, but we want it to be a greater place, hence the name of the capital campaign. Let me go back in time just a few brief years. I remember when we were able to build the new DeVos Fieldhouse, how much of a dream this had been for our community. And one of the leaders in this vision was Jim Brooks, who is here today, and others who gave us reason to think that this community should have that kind of facility. And we were able to work together to achieve this particular addition that we willingly share with the rest of Holland. Likewise, the A. Paul Schaap Science Center was a facility that Hope built so that we could do science the way we think science should be done, and that is collaboratively. Faculty members working side by side with students, basically in experiential education with research that is active and meaningful. I remember a meeting that I had with John Spoolhoff. I think it was on the corner of 8th Street and College Avenue. You know, John, when you talk with John, he has a way of making you remember what he says, and I remember this as if it happened yesterday. He came up to me. I was dean for the social sciences at Hope, and under my purview was the business department. And John came up to me one day and kind of a hustle and said, Jim, I just can't hire any students from Hope anymore. They don't have enough hours in accounting, and we really need people who have, you know, lots of accounting and not all this other stuff. And he said, I can't hire them from Hope anymore. I can't hire them from Calvin anymore because you guys don't do that kind of thing at your places. So I go to Ferris to hire them. And after I calmed down just a little bit, I said, well, John, who's going to take your place when you retire? He said, oh, probably Coop and Beery and Booty and those guys. And I said, and where did they go to school? He said, okay, you got me. Well, it's probably the only time I've ever gotten to John. But it does, I think, demonstrate a bit what Hope tries to do, and that is to prepare students for all of life, not just their first job. And then the Martha Miller Center, which we were also able to build in the relatively recent past, is a facility that has enhanced Hope's efforts in the area of multicultural ed, international ed, and communication. One of the statistics that you may not be aware of is that Hope has virtually tripled its minority population in the last 6 years. Now we have about 13% of our population at Hope are students of color. It's not a great statistic, but it's so much better than it was before and puts us actually quite even with most liberal arts colleges in the country. Going back just a minute to the DeVos Fieldhouse, many of you thought that we built this just so that we would never ever lose to Calvin again. Well, it's only partially true. We built it, of course, so that this community and this college could have a place that would provide a great venue for many athletic events. I suspect it was a bit uncomfortable this last week for Garth Durr to be the chair of our business industry drive. Garth, as you know, a Calvin graduate and all, out raising money for Hope. Probably took a lot of flack on this. And I thought, you know, together we kind of put our heads together and we said, you know, maybe there's a way that we could resolve this. Let's both root for Hope in basketball, and then in football we'll both root for Calvin. And that's going to work out pretty well, I think, don't you, Garth? And we appreciated your participation in this campaign. When hope is better, the whole community will be better. When the whole community is better, hope is better. I mean, that's just kind of the way it works in Holland. And we are so very grateful to have this college located in Holland, Michigan, basically in downtown Holland, Michigan. It's a tremendous asset for us to be located here. And I hear this most every time visitors come to campus. Parents will drop off their sons or daughters on campus. They'll go downtown, go to the shops, the restaurants, and it's a big enhancement for us. Hardly any liberal arts colleges in the country are located in a downtown location. Most are off in the perimeter of town or in more isolated areas. And we like where we're located. And we think that together we can make this an even better place with the plans that we have in place at the current time. Obviously, this is an ambitious campaign, $175 million, 75 of which will go into buildings. About $100 million has already gone into buildings in the last decade. Hope has raised in a little more than the last decade, almost at the conclusion of this campaign, almost $350 million. And so we're confident of our ability to do this, but given the economy, this has been a bit more of a challenge than we initially anticipated. We're about $45 million short of our goal, and we look forward with some degree of confidence and expectation that this will come to marvelous fruition within the next 2 years. And we're confident of this because of God's grace and goodness to the college, because of the diligent efforts of so many people, and because we have a treasure here in Holland that all of us cherish, this community that we love and want to nurture for the betterment of everyone.